Hello everyone, my name is Ross the Alcheminiaturist, and this is Desperation. This is my whole army. As it stands right now, some primed, some painted, some completely needing assembly, like Abaddon and these Terminators. Let's rewind a little bit and talk about how we got to this. On August 2nd, warhammercommunity.com posted an announcement for the new season of Open Play. Since I've made it my resolution to play at least 2 tournaments this year, I figured that it would be a good way to jump into it. I checked the list of stores participating in Open Play, and I found that my favorite local game store was participating. After spending a day deliberating on what to ask, how to ask, etc., because I'm always overthinking, I decided to say heck it, called them, and found out that they hadn't gotten their Open Play box yet. That should have spurred me to get cracking on my army, right? Wrong. So very, very wrong. Now, at the time of recording, I have 7 days to get my army done. As you have seen, there are 7 models painted, 35 models primed or partially painted, and 11 models yet to build or need priming and a little bit of conversion. Which means a grand total of 46 models yet to be finished. Here's the rest of the problem. I'm at work from 8 till 5 p.m. Monday to Friday. However, I'm out of the house from about 6:30 to 7 at night, which doesn't really leave me too much time for really anything else but sleeping in a couple hours of hobby, if I get it. If I stretch it, I can get 3 hours of painting done, or hobby done, during a night, which means because I have about a week to go, I have 21 hours, including today, to get everything done. That includes building, priming, basing, washing, cleaning up, getting it all ready to go. So, are you ready? 'Cause I'm not. My original paint scheme was going to be Emperor's Children adjacent. You know, the Apostles of Decadence, as I had talked about in a previous video. I love basically everything about them. The lore, the models, color palette, special characters like Lucius. Everything, really. Unfortunately, I don't think that would be conducive to a completed army for T-Day. Black Legion, however, is much more simple. Black, gold, iron, and then some accent colors. So my plan of attack is basically this. Assemble everything as quickly and as well as possible, prime, base coat, base color, and then basically make an assembly line of everything to get through without the most amount of changing of paints or brushes. I will be using everything I have at my disposal, both equipment and techniques, to help speed up my process, using less than 3 of my 24 hours to prime and base coat the 11, 14-ish models is probably going to be the best to help me. Well, with about 3 hours done on day 1, 1/7 of the way there, all I've gotten done is 6 models. So hopefully tomorrow I can make a really good start, as I still have more models to convert, but I have no more time today. Day 2 came, and I realized I still needed to convert the Idoneth Deepkin models I got a while ago as part of the Games Workshop's 1 free model a month program. I mean, why not? Free is good, and converting something means you will have something unique to you and your army. One of the conversions, and rebasing of the models were done, I fired up my airbrush, loaded in AK's black primer, and got to work on all the models needing paint. After that, I continued to use the airbrush, but with Leadbeltcher instead, base coating the knight as well as the weapons and the few other parts I wanted to have as a metal look was quick and easy. The knight took some finagling to get his hand to stay in the same pose as Fingy, but with some superglue and a dream, it worked. Day 3 brought its own set of challenges. While basing all of my marines with Naggaroth Night, in order to have a more purple hue to them and thus have them seem closer to my pink marines than straight black, I found I was hitting a wall of both mental and physical limitations. It was quickly dawning on me that my original plan of 3 hours a night would not actually be a plan that I could viably keep up. Work being, well, work was a lot more intensive than I had originally accounted for. Coupled with my sleep, or lack thereof, I was feeling the initial signs of burnout. To combat this, I decided it would be the smartest course of action to cut my hobby time from 3 hours a night to 1, invariably meaning my 21 hours of painting was now about 7. I had to cut a lot of my plan out, as well as making sure I was getting the most out of the hour. I doubt it needs to be said, but Chaos seems to look like it has more trim than their Imperial counterparts, and boy howdy does that mean it's a time sink. Sucks to paint, but gorgeous to look at. When I got to day 5, I got to the tabard, banner, loincloth of the knight. I knew what I wanted, and I knew how to get it. Freehand. It's a skill I don't have. I do, however, listen to Brent and Casey over on their respective channels, as well as their podcast Paint Bravely. So I tried it, painting bravely. Dipping my brush into Emperor's Children Pink, I went at it, and I'd like to say that I'm pleased with the results. I did another bit of freehand on the chest shield, but I forgot to record that. The Knight's Mask was a fun little idea I had when I was nearly asleep one night. So, getting back to my board, I chopped it up mostly in half and painted it with white Scar air paint. Points to whoever figures out what I was going for there. I'm not going to spoil it, let me know in the comments. I painted the rest of the mask off camera one morning before I headed to work, like the silly goose I am. I had washed the Knight, as well as the rest of the models, with Nuil Oil previously, so I had to re-brighten up all of the gold. I cursed past me for doing so, as I could not have washed the gold, and saved myself a whole step and a bunch of time doing so. I did the final assembly of the Knight, and the Knight was done. The base would be done on the final day as a nice home stretch feeling. I wanted more pop on my Marines and figured that painting their claws and eyes evil Sunz Red would be a good idea, so I used the last of day 6 to get to that, as well as some of the red on the cultists done. Day 7 and the last hour or so I had to work on this army came. I took a cork coaster from the dollar store, ripped it up, and superglued it to the base, using it as somewhat rocks to give a better overall feel to the model. While I was painting up the models that I had with exposed flesh, I used Kislev Flesh. I realized that I hadn't done up a few of the pink models I was going to turn black and thus be more cohesive to this army. Quickly painting their flesh, I had to get in a wash of Rekland Fleshshade so that they all felt like they had some depth to them. And with that, it was brushes down and time to wrap up. While I'm not superbly happy with how they turned out, I am happy with what I got done in the limited time and unaccounted for restrictions that came into play. Would I do this again? Yes, but I'd have much more of a thought out plan before even attempting it again. Now, here is the finished result.